What's going on, guys? Welcome to the channel. This video we're going to be talking about PDWs and why I think they're a useful tool for every prepared citizen to have. All right, so before we get started talking about PDWs, we kind of have to define what one is, or kind of what I feel like the definition of a PDW is. And we're going to talk about what it's not. So I brought out some guns, some a little bit bigger guns. Yeah, these are short barreled, whatever. This is a 10.5 SBR. To me, this is not really a PDW. This is a fighting rifle, a carbine, whatever you want to call it. Even without the suppressor, it's still pretty big. You can't really travel with this very easily. You can't conceal it very easily. It's loud as heck. Even with the silencer on here, it's still loud. So this is like a very offensive kind of a fighting rifle, if you want to call it that. So it's not that. It's not a 5.56, 10.5, 11.5, whatever. It's not a 5.56 rifle. I've also got a 8.5 and 8.5 inch 300 blackout. This one, to me, still not a PDW. Yes, it has the law folder on here. You can fold it down pretty small. It packs down pretty small. You can take the can off, and this to me is kind of like borderline PDW. If this had like a 6-inch barrel or a 5-inch, kind of like those I guess the Sig Rattler, I think is what it's called, that would kind of be, to me, it would be in the realm or on the spectrum of a PDW, because it's a little bit smaller. It gets into that packable size, that concealable size, but to me, this 8.5 right here, it's kind of like borderline PDW. I wouldn't want to go any bigger than this right here. I would ideally want to go a little bit smaller. This, however, is great. 300 blackout is great. You can get subsonics. You can make it super quiet. It does take kind of a big suppressor or silencer to do that. You have to have a lot of volume on it to get it to really be subsonic. We'll talk about some of that later. Like if you got a 9mm can, like a small one, it's not going to be near as quiet as like this full-size Nomad for suppressing 300 blackout subsonics. So anyway, this technically kind of can be a PDW, still a little bit too big. It needs a little bit shorter barrel. Now we're getting into the actual PDW, realm, or on the PDW spectrum. It's kind of what everybody likes to call things nowadays. Everything's on a spectrum. This is a 5-inch AR-9. The upper is a Bear Creek Arsenal bufferless upper, which just means it's kind of like a Sig, MPX and all that stuff. That has the internal guide rods up here with the recoil springs. There's no buffer. You can put a folding stock, all that sort of thing. It's an Arrow standard Arrow AR9 lower. Fumbling words. Anyway, it's a Bear Creek upper on an Arrow lower. It's got a 5-inch barrel and a Huxworks Flow 9K Ti. The new 9mm Huxworks can on the front, which does really well. It's great on back pressure, the lack of back pressure. It does really good with sound. It's pretty quiet with subsonics on handguns and PCCs. So, it's a great 9mm can, and it's lightweight and versatile because it's got a hub on the back, which I'm a huge fan of hub compatibility. You can put reared in, plan B, all that kind of stuff, hub compatibility. So anyway, this right here is like an ideal PDW to me. It's got the 5-inch barrel. It's small. It's foldable. You can take the silencer off. It's even smaller. It's 9mm, so it's easy to suppress. 45 stuff like that can be easier to suppress. But you know, there's a lot of subsonic 9mm ammo. You can get 147s as long as you make sure the velocity is low enough and it's going to be below the sound barrier, all that kind of science, physics type stuff. This right here is a PDW in my book. It's lighter than all of these. It's shorter, it's smaller, it's quieter. Yeah, PDW. And then we get into the really small guy right here. This is it's actually a Glock 22 with a 9mm barrel. So for all intents and purposes, it's a Glock 17. But anyway, it's a 9mm Glock 17 with a Recover Tactical folding brace or chassis, whatever you want to call it, on here. There it is. That's the entire package. It's way lighter than the AR9, just because it's got less metal, less moving mass, all that sort of thing. And this is lightweight. It's small. You can see how small it is compared to, you know, to this guy. It's a lot smaller, a lot lighter. Uses the same ammo, same magazines, all that sort of thing. To me, this is like top tier PDW weapons platform system, whatever you want to call it, whatever jargon from 2010 you want to use that you shouldn't. This is a PDW. So now that we've kind of defined what a PDW is as far as like size and dimension, whatever, let's kind of talk about what the role of a PDW is. And it's not, you know, it's like I said, it's not a 10.5 carbine. You're not doing CQB, you know, Delta Force stuff with it. PDW, think MP5, MP5K, MP7, that sort of thing, like private security type stuff. You know, you've got high profile people walking around. They've all got bodyguards. A lot of them are going to have PDWs. They're going to have really small, lightweight, concealable guns that are not handguns. They're going to have a handgun. They're also going to have this. This gives you more points of contact. When, you know, whether it's an SBR that you can shoulder, or, you know, just a cheek piece or whatever, you got 2 points. For hands, you can put, you know, you can always put 2 hands on a handgun, but, you know, you get your leverage and stuff. When you move it out to here, it gets a lot more sturdy when you can separate your hands and put 2 hands on the gun. So these types of guns are useful because of their size and weight. Like I said, you can see how small it is, how light it is. This can easily fold and pack into a backpack. You can travel with this, whether you're just going around town, you can put it in a backpack, put it in your vehicle. I like to carry one of these in a backpack when I go on vacation. You know, you can take these out of state because they're handguns. They're not SBRs. You don't have to ask permission from the ATF to travel out of state, anything like that. You can take these wherever you want, as long as, you know, like, you check the laws of the state you're going into or whatever. But for me in Alabama, I can go pretty much anywhere around me and be good with these right here. So anyway, I like to put these in a backpack and carry it with me when I travel. I can take it in the hotel. I can bring it back to the car. You know, whatever I want to do with it, I've always got more capability than just my handgun wherever I travel. I know everybody, I would love to be able to take this right here with me, or even like a 16-inch rifle with me, but it's just not really feasible for most people. You know, you really have to get creative on how you pack and how you transport those, and it just gets really, really bulky and really inconvenient, and most people are not going to do it. I know there are some out there that are going to watch this say, yeah, I do it all the time. That's great, and, you know, more power to you. I think, you know, more people should get to the place where they can do that, but I'm a realist. In reality, talking to the normal person, they're not going to take their 16-inch AR and do whatever, you know, make whatever sacrifice or inconvenience they need to be able to transport that. They're not going to do that. It'd be much easier for them to take something like this, drop it in a backpack, and you never even know it's there. It's not heavy enough to bog you down. It's not big enough to, you know, take up all the room in the backpack. Like this 300 Blackout, when I fold it, it is the backpack. Like that backpack is designed, as sole purpose is to carry this the size and the weight and all the accessories or whatever that go with it. That's the whole role for that backpack. It can't do anything else because it's so big and it's so heavy. This right here, I can drop this in there. It drops all the way down to the bottom. You know, it sits pretty much like this. So you think a backpack is this tall, you've got all this room. You can open the top of it in public. Nobody's going to, see the suppressor, the barrel or whatever, the handle sticking out of the backpack, because this goes all the way down in the bottom and it's completely hidden. I can even throw like a little chest rig. I've got this one right here. It's got a couple mags, some first aid, whatever. Small little chest rig. You can drop that in the bottom of the bag with it, or put it in the front pouch, whatever. It's still not going to really bog you down like a chest rig with full AR mags with 300 blackout would. These are also great for vehicles. I can stick this kind of in between the console and my leg when I'm driving. I can set it in between the seat on the other side of the console. Whatever you want to do with it. It's way more maneuverable, because with my hand, I've only got this much hanging out the front. You got to be careful because you don't want to sweep your legs, all that kind of sort of thing. But, going around steering wheels, seat belts, whatever, it's way easier to just put this over your shoulder and look how close you are having to move, and then you can punch out and go to work, whatever they call it. A lot easier than it would be, to try to get this thing moved around steering wheels and all that. It can be done, it's just not as easy. Something like this is also very concealable with a jacket. A lot of the private security, Secret Service dudes, they've got jackets on, folded up. You see how thin it is? It can ride right here. If I had a big enough jacket, or, if I planned accordingly, or just stood kind of awkwardly like they do a lot with the fake hands or whatever, definitely don't have fake hands. Anyway, you can hide it under a loose jacket very easily on either side, like this. And, you can go about your business. Just set the record straight. I'm not encouraging anybody to do anything illegal with these. These are for lawful purposes only, for protecting you and your family and people around you, to be a good guy with these. And like I said earlier, these are designed primarily for like private security. Well, when I'm traveling, my family, my wife, my kids, whoever, are the high profile people or persons or people that I'm there to protect. I'm taking care of myself ultimately, but they're my responsibility. I'm the man, I'm the dad, the father, whatever you want to call it, the protector. It's my job to take care of them. It's my job to have my eyes open to my surroundings, to see what's going on, to carry the burden of protection. That I take that on as my responsibility. So if you think of it like that, it kind of helps you kind of wrap your mind or mold your mind to that kind of scenario, or that theory, that ideal of carrying a PDW and being able to use it and what you're using it for. So I mentioned earlier in the video, these 9mm, these handgun rounds, are very easy to suppress. There's 147 grain, 165 grain. They're all over the place. You can find them anywhere. They're easy to suppress. Put a little 9mm can on there. You can get them. They're lightweight, like this Hooks Works. It's like 8 ounces with the booster. It's like 4 or 5 without an adapter. It's less than 8 ounces on a PCC, 8-ish on a handgun with a booster. So super lightweight, super small. It does the job. It suppresses the round. Even supersonics, you'll be able to shoot them with no ear pro and you'll be just fine. Everybody else in the world will hear the bullet, the crack and all that stuff. But to you, the shooter, to your family, it's going to be awesome. If you do subsonics, they're not, to me, maybe I just don't have the right ammo, but to me, they're not quite as quiet as like a 220 grain, 300 blackout with a big can like this Dead Air Nomad right here. It's got a lot of volume, a lot of baffles. It's a traditional, baffled high back pressure can, which is great for noise reduction. So anyway, this with 220 grain to me, is quieter. It sounds like a paintball gun. It's quieter than the Hooks with subsonic 9mm. But anyway, if you're in a situation with rule of law or without, whichever, and you need to be very stealthy, You can put a can, a 9mm can on either one of these with subsonics, and it's going to hide the shot pretty well. Like, you can do what you need to do. If you're having to get home with your family, maybe I've just been watching too much Homestead or, from Walking Dead back in the day. But if you're in a really crappy situation and you've got to get home or get to a certain place with you or your family, and you don't want everybody in the world knowing what you're doing and what you got, and you've got to take care of some things, you could get it done with subsonics and a silencer on 9mm. All right, one of the last things I want to talk about, benefits of this, is use the same mag. I know it's been the same argument for a long time. You might call me a foot or whatever, but I like being able to use the same mags and the same ammo as my carry gun, because this is a Glock 17 mag. I can easily go right there. I can put the 33 round mag like that's in here. My chest rig, I've got some more 19 round Glock mags. My Glock 19, like this thing right here, or this one won't, because you got to put a 17 round because the handle. You could put a Glock 19 in here and have a little bit more versatility. But this guy right here, like I said, this is a standard Arrow AR9 lower. Even if I'm carrying my Glock 26 and I've got a 10 round Glock mag, this itty bitty dude right here, it still fits in this AR9 lower and it would still work. It's got plenty of room to fit in there and to feed and all that stuff. Pops out. 33 round mag, obviously Magpul 27s, 17 round mags all day long. Whatever Glock mag you want to run in this thing, it'll work. So to me, that's good. I like that. I like not having to worry about big magazines, different ammo. If I use up all of one, I can grab one from the other one, whatever. All the benefits you've been hearing for the past decades about being able to use the same mags, they all apply here. So I've been talking really good about these 9mm PDWs. It doesn't have to be 9mm. It could be, if you want a 5.7, something like that, one of the Ruger ones, or just any kind of other caliber. It doesn't matter. Even a 300 Blackout. Like I said, with a short enough barrel, it can be a PDW. It's not going to have some of these benefits, but it's going to be better in other ways, we'll say. Which kind of leads me into some of the drawbacks of these 9mm PDWs. The main one being it's 9mm. It's a handgun round. People get shot with handgun rounds all the time, and they don't die. You can say whatever you want about stopping power, this or that. Shoot somebody with a rifle, it's going to do more damage than they do with a handgun because of velocity, because of terminal ballistics, all that sort of thing. When you increase the velocity of something, it exponentially increases the energy. And with this, you're just increasing weight, which it increases energy on a linear linear spectrum, whatever you want to call it. So like doubling the weight will just double the energy, but doubling the velocity will like quadruple or whatever the energy. Has a way better impact. So that's why really fast moving bullets do a lot of damage, because the velocity is higher, the energy is a lot higher. All that science and physics aside, 9mm is just not as effective as 5.56 or 300 Blackout. It's not going to do as much damage. You can get good ammo, and that will help you. But main thing, you got to put the shots where they count. That's with anything. How many times have you shot a deer with 308, 300 Win Mag, 200 grain bullet, moving very fast, and you shoot a deer center mass? How far does it run? I shot one with a 308 and never found it. That's hard to admit, but I don't really know where I hit it. Probably in the chest somewhere, but it ran 400 or 500 yards off my property. Never found it. That was with a 308, 165, 180 grain, whatever. It's all about shot placement. I shot another deer, same gun, same bullet, same ammo, whatever. Fell right there because it's all, hit it in a different spot and never took a step and dropped right there. It's all about shot placement. So anyway, the main drawback on these ammo, 9mm. Whatever you put in here, it's going to be a small bullet, whether it's 5.7 or 9mm, whatever. It's going to be a small bullet. It's not going to be as powerful as these. But that's the kind of give and take with getting something this small and being able to have something that you can suppress very easily. It's not going to be the same as a 5.56. This does more damage. It's impossible to suppress. You can't get it quiet enough to be as quiet as these. It's trade-off. So now I know a lot of you are going to ask, you've probably already been asking, why not just carry a handgun or get good with your handgun or be able to shoot with your handgun, whatever. Yeah, I'm all for that. My Glock 19 has a red dot on it just for that. I can hit small targets at 25 yards a lot easier with a red dot than I can with iron sights. But this is still, one-handed. Even if you put two on here, they're side by side basically. This thing still moves around a lot. It's a lot harder to shoot small things really fast with a handgun than it is with something you can have more points of contact with. Doesn't matter who you are, how good a shooter you are, you're going to shoot this better than you're going to shoot a handgun. Also, you can put more accessories on these. You can put lights, different types of lights. Like this one's got a TLR. This is a handgun light, but it's on the side because I've got this extra mag right here. You can't do this with a handgun. You just can't do it. You can't have this on the bottom of your Glock. It's not going to fit. This is Picatinny, whatever. If they made one for a Glock, it's not going to work out that great. So you can have a whole extra magazine right here, twice the ammo. You got a better grip right here. You can move your light around to the sides, to the top. Some of the SIG ones, you can mount things on top, or a TP9. I think it's a TP9. You can mount lasers or lights on top, which I kind of like. But at any rate, with the Glock, you're kind of stuck with this this type of clamshell chassis deal. So lights go on the side. Then, like with this one, it's got M-LOK all around it. You can pretty much do whatever you want with it. It has a full Picatinny on top. Handgun doesn't have that. You get a little more options on what you can mount, where you can mount it. The barrel is non-reciprocating, or not reciprocating, non-tilting. On a Glock, the barrel tilts when it goes back. So you can put a lighter suppressor on here. You can put a smaller one. Like this one has this is actually a Wolfpack Armory Plan B, but it's got a Reardon flash hider, Plan B, and nobody's going to be able to put a silencer on their concealed carry handgun. I don't care what you think you can do or what holster you got. It's not going to work. You're not going to be able, nobody suppresses their concealed carry handgun. So that's another thing. +1 for the PDW. So yeah, that's why this kind of has an advantage to me over handgun. It's got more modularity. It's got more, you got more control over it. You've got more surface area, more points of contact to shoot. You can shoot faster. You can shoot farther and faster at smaller objects with this than you can a handgun. And we can go ahead and talk about the sling, since I've been messing with this one and probably that one too. This is a Halo sling from Tier 1 Citizen. It's basically just a big bungee cord that's tied together and has shrink wrap put on it. It's just a big shock cord loop. You throw it over, and now it hangs really tight. This jacket's got a hood, and it's kind of hard to do. It's probably hitting the microphone, but anyway, it hangs right here. It's shock absorbing. It's just a bungee. It wraps up super tight. It's not big, it's not bulky, and it's perfect amount of retention for this weight, this size gun right here. It hangs just like that. If I want to, if this was under the jacket, I could slide it to the side, get it under the jacket. This one right here, also a Tier 1 sling. This is just a little bit bigger. It's actual webbing. It still has the bungee, and it has a swift clip right here so you can get in and out of it, and a QD right here to mount on the back. I like 1 points for PDWs, mainly because of the size of them. It's kind of impossible to get a 2-point sling put on any of these. Even with this one with the M-LOK up front, you're really running out of real estate up here to be mounting slings. Once you put a light, a pressure pad, hand stop, whatever, you don't really have that much room. You could put a longer handguard that kind of covers the silencer, which I might do in the future, but at any rate, single point slings are ideal for PDWs because just how big they are, and you don't really need a 2-point for that. All right, so there you go. There's the kind of probably longer than I want it to be discussion on PDWs and why they're so useful. Like I said, if it's just everyday traveling in your car, in and out of your car, going to a hotel, whatever, perfect for that. It gives you way more capability than a handgun. If it's a way worse situation where you have to use something like this, it's very concealable, it's very quiet. You can do what you need to do and be gone before whoever knows about it. And they're not gonna hear you. They're not gonna be able to see you and spot you because of how small, how light, and how quiet these can be. So if we're talking about the brass tacks pyramid, if we're talking about the top few levels of that, and you need to do some sketchy things with your boys to survive or do whatever, this would be great for that. You can, like I said, you can do what you need to do, whether you've got to shoot or not shoot. You can blend back into the regular public, and nobody ever know that you're a tactical dude doing some kind of mission to survive or to do whatever against whatever enemy or situation. So yeah, you can easily transport these. You can easily stow them, do your work, go back into plain sight, whatever. That's for the not rule of law situations, the one we all talk about and think is really cool, but we really suck. And that's a different video, a different discussion. Everybody needs to quit fantasizing about, or quit, I think Nothing Fancy had a video, don't hasten the day. Yeah. However fun you think it would be, just think about the not fun stuff, and it will greatly outweigh any kind of fun you think you might have during any of that. So just think about that. Anyway, that's all I got for this video. Thanks for watching. Thanks for stopping by. Do some exercise, get your guns out, shoot them, make yourself better, get in the Word, read your Bible, and let's just get ready for what this world's got to offer us in the future. We'll see y'all next time.